Good evening. Welcome to our regular council meeting of Tuesday, August the 26th, 2025. My name is Peter Emo. I'm the Reeve. Unfortunately, the mayor is away attending to important family business. Our procedural bylaw has it written that I take his place and preside over the meeting. Could you conduct roll call, Madam Clerk, please?
Mayor Sidney. Reeve Emo.
Present.
Councillor Legree.
Present.
Councillor McWhirter.
Present.
Councillor MacDonald. Councillor Sobalski. Councillor Andrew Dick.
Present.
Reeve Emo, we do have quorum.
Thank you. As we gather, we would like to acknowledge on behalf of Council and our community that we are meeting on the traditional territory of the Algonquin people. We would like to thank the Algonquin people and express our respect and support for their rich history, and we are extremely grateful for their many and continued displays of friendship. We also thank all the generations of people who have taken care of this land for thousands of years. Could you please stand for O Canada? Thank you, and I appreciate your good grace in not laughing at my efforts to sing O Canada. That's the only song I actually sing besides Happy Birthday, and it always has to be in a large crowd, so thank you. So tonight we have a great, we've got a great agenda, but before we get to it, any declaration of community community interest? Council, seeing none, thank you. So we often are very proud of our community for their many achievements. And so tonight is a very special night for us. We get to show how proud we are. Other times we just talk to people about it on the street or we post something on social media. So it's a real pleasure and an honor for us to have you here this evening so that we can demonstrate our respect for what you've accomplished and our admiration for the effort to get there. And so what we're going to do is our CAO is going to call out your name. I'm going to hand you a certificate and a town pin. And then when we're all done, we'll bring you back up and we'll ask council to join me up here. And then I'll align you behind us and we'll take a group picture, if that's okay. So that'll be a nice keepsake for, hopefully, for us, definitely, for the four of us, but I'm hoping for you as well. So if you'll just bear with me, because nothing goes according to plan, so we'll just take a few seconds. All right, I'll go around the front. Pardon me? Oh, I'm sorry, yes. I'm supposed to tell everybody why you're here. It's not often we see 15 or 20 smiling faces, so my apologies. It's a real honor to be here today to celebrate your incredible accomplishments of the Renfrew Millionaires softball team. Winning a bronze medal at the Olympics at the Ontario Summer Games in Brantford is no small feat. It's quite an achievement. It takes hard work, dedication, teamwork, and heart. You have represented not only yourselves, but also the town of Renfrew with pride, with dignity, and with a great deal of endurance. Today, we come together as a community to recognize your efforts, your perseverance, and the inspiration you're going to provide to all of us. On behalf of Council, the Mayor, and the residents of Renfrew, our volunteers, and our staff, I want to congratulate each and every one of you. You made us all so very proud, and we are thrilled to celebrate this significant and important day and event with you. So again, thank you, and congratulations once again. So if you didn't laugh at me singing O Canada, you certainly can laugh at me for messing up remembering who you were and why you were here.
So I'll be reading these off in no particular order. The first one is for Val Hashi.
No, here.
Nope, not here. Okay. Okay. Corey Duncan. Next is Brian Haley. Next is Chris Hislop.
Okay.
Okay. Scott Lamont.
One, two, three.
Did you by chance have to get a home run or two?
Next is Nathan Campbell. No. Nathan? Okay, so Earl McNulty.
I'm going to confess, Earl and I met a long time ago. I was in grade 8 and he was in kindergarten.
Next is Jocelyn Richard. Jacob Redema. Mary Martin. Frank Belanger.
Oh, he's not here. I can put my hand in your back? Sure. Well, I'll put my arm around you. Frank and I worked together for a number of years, so we could talk to each other.
Next is Patrick Grist.
Bring the pins here.
Patrick? Raymond Goodyear.
Perfect.
Lexi Heaslip. Not here. Emily Paquette. Colin Ratzliff. Colin Ratzliff? No, not here, okay. Noah Rock? Not here. And Kinga Chizingi Makesko? Not here, okay.
So what we'll do then is we'll rearrange the chairs, we'll get council up here, and then we'll call you up and Hannah will arrange you, because she's much smarter than I am. So we'll wheel the chairs in, we'll sit.
Yeah, the council wants to sit and then.
Yeah.
everyone-
Sit or stand?
So I'll probably sit, that way we
Sit,
can get
probably
everybody
easier, and
in.
then I'll get everyone to kind of come behind
In
it.
front?
Yeah, we'll go over. Is that okay?
Oh, you front? Okay, front, yes.
You want to knock it over?
Yeah, grab a chair.
Oh, space. No, sorry, back to your chair.
Oh, back here?
Yeah.
Behind?
There,
Yeah.
see, that's why you don't listen to me.
Yeah, we'll do behind and then
I could
everyone
have
can
stood
come
up
behind
again.
you.
Yeah.
Gonna
I didn't know.
clear a few things off the desk.
You'd like to push me.
Just
So just stand behind council, and then we'll start shuffling. I wouldn't done that. Colin's in the front.
Okay.
not strong
Is
enough.
it the front? Is that what that's what they asked? You want to kneel right here too? That'd be perfect. That's great. Awesome.
Piece everything back together.
Oh, sorry.
What's going on, bro? How are you? I know you missed me. I know. Maybe
All
next year I'll
right.
come back.
Are we ready? 1, 2, 3. I'm just gonna take one more this way. 1,
Get you to this.
2, 3. Perfect. Good job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, how are you, Marvin? Very proud of you, buddy. Very proud of you. Proud of you all. I'm bowling out. We'll do some bowling.
One for now.
Which one's yours?
I don't know.
Oh, Carolyn has them?
I'll let you go through.
Oh, no.
That one's over here.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. I don't know where they went.
Right here.
Oh, okay. I was like, they left it, so I moved everything off. Oh, there's some water there, just be careful.
Peter.
Yo.
There was the
No,
one-
I will ask Frank though. Thank you.
No, that's good.
Okay, next, oh, sorry, here's another certificate. Charlene?
Is that one extra?
Yeah, no, it's, yeah.
Thank you very much.
My chair. I've lost a chair. Somebody took my chair.
Oh, did they?
I'm sure if you want to, we'll just steal this one.
I just hope someone's like,
Thanks again.
See ya.
Thank you. Good night.
Anyone see my pet?
I think
you're the one behind your computer?
No, on it. Oh, yeah. Good job.
Yeah, great job, everybody. Thank you, council. All right, so we'll move to item D, which is the Committee of Adjustment Property Standards Committee, and seeing nothing.
Is there any other community announcements? Item C4.
Oh, my apologies. We'll do item C4 first, which is the announcements and community events. Only one is the Taste of the Valley is in Calabogie this weekend on Saturday at the community hall. So if anybody's around, has time, wants to travel around, it's a good spot to go. Thank you. And now we're moving to item number E, which is that Renfrew Town Council convene as Committee of the Whole to consider reports for recommendation to Council. Could I have a mover, please? Councillor Legree, second by Councillor McWhirter. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, I'm going to call the vote. All in favor? Opposed? None. It's carried. Thank you, Council. And we'll move to item E1, which is Coordinator Collins, please. Oh, yes, I should read the motion first. My apologies. Different venue today. That Committee of the Whole received the monthly tenant facility and maintenance report, August 2025, as information. Mover, Councillor Legree, second by Councillor McWhirter. And now we'll move to Coordinator Collins.
Thank you, and through you, Chair. So we'll start at One Innovation. Everything's been pretty quiet there lately. However, we do have one issue on one of the natural gas furnaces. There is a vent stack that goes through the roof, and it is let go at the top, and it's essentially being held on by the fan motor and nothing else. This stack runs above a gas line, so replacement is required, as if it fell, that would not be good. We have received one quote for the work, and based on the amount, it will have to go through the town's tendering process, so we're looking for next steps on that. And we do also have a quote on a full replacement of this furnace. Moving to the MyFM Center, the steel railings around the exterior of the facility have begun rusting quite bad. We've met with the company that installed them, and they sandblasted and repainted the railings in localized areas. However, everywhere that they did that, it has already started to happen again. I actually met yesterday with another contractor who recommended not replacing them with different material, but properly sandblasting them, and then he mentioned some other steps that might have been missed, and that's why we're seeing all the rusting, so that's something we're going to look into. Moving to, during the removal of the ice on the BEI Arena, it was an exceptionally hot and humid day, but a lot of the paint on the underside of the walking track started dripping, and it stained the floor, so we had to clean that up. But we're currently working with Butcon to see what caused this and how to resolve it so we don't continue to run into it moving forward. On the rear exterior wall of the BEI Arena, there is one area of siding rusting underneath an exhaust fan. Butcon has been notified, and we're currently working on a solution for that as well. And finally, the acoustic panels will now be manufactured for the medicine wheel. We just gave approval to move 4 sprinkler heads today to accommodate the panels, so hopefully that gets done relatively soon.
Thank you. Any questions from council? I'll start with Councillor Legree, please.
Through you, Reeve, to Mr. Collins. Just with my FM center, the paint dripping off the walking track, didn't that happen? Isn't this the second time this has happened? Did we not have to originally when they painted it, did we not have to sandblast it and they had to repaint it once already? I'm just trying to remember back.
I may pass this one to Director Withers. I believe it happened before I was on Mattaway.
Mr. Withers?
Through you, Chair. So there was an issue with getting the right build on the paint, but I believe this is the first time we've actually had it like dripping onto the floor. Previously, the CBO required a certain thickness of the paint, and they had some difficulty achieving that. So this might just be a continuation of that of the issues with the paint on that surface.
Okay, thank you. Councillor McWhirter?
You brief for Jacob, I guess. What kind of paint are they using? It's not water-based, is it? Like, it doesn't make sense to use water-based paint. They would have used an oil base, I guess, in that situation. And I've never heard of an oil base dripping due to condensation.
Yeah, thank you. Through you, Chair. So we believe that there's an intumescent paint, which is fire-rated paint. Yes. And that's what Director Withers was referring to, that they had to do a lot of coats to achieve the right thickness. But we had somebody else in, and they think that there would have been a finish coat over top of that intumescent paint, but he didn't test it, so he wasn't able to tell us what it was, but that we think that's what was dripping. So we're trying to figure out kind of where to go from there on it.
Thank you. Any further questions? Seeing none. All in favor? Opposed? None. It's carried. Thank you very much. That Committee of the Whole recommends that Renfrew Town Council proceed with the award of the partial roof replacement at 1 Innovation Drive to Garland, DBS Canada Inc. and Perth Roofing in the amount of $287,255, excluding HST. And further, that the additional work identified for potential gypsum replacement and wall line restoration be approved in advance in the event it become necessary. Could I have a mover, please? Councillor Legree, second by Councillor McWhirter, and Coordinator Collins, please.
Thank you. Through you, Chair. So it was identified in our 2025 budget to repair a section of the roof at 1 Innovation, and it was determined that the section being replaced was the top priority for this year. As per our procurement policy, the town can utilize group purchasing options, and Garland Canada was the group who assisted the town with design, roofing materials, and labor, as well as project management. Garland also assisted in receiving and reviewing bids, and Perth Roofing was the lowest bid, coming in under budget. There is the potential for gypsum replacement if the current gypsum cannot be salvaged. This would add $6.60 per square foot up to a maximum of the 10,000 square feet that's being replaced. But Garland was quite confident we'd be able to salvage most of the gypsum based on their test cuts. So the options moving forward are to proceed with award to Garland, DBS Canada Inc. and Perth Roofing, or do not award and reissue a tender. If we were to award, Garland and Perth Roofing are able to commence almost immediately with the aim to have the project completed in early Q4. Completion of this work will mitigate any future damage and issues at this location of the building. If the project is not awarded at this time, work will be delayed and the project would have to be retendered, causing the project to not be completed likely until 2026. This could lead to further damage from any potential leaks that are present. Further to that, not completing the roof in 2025 may put the town in contravention of tenant lease agreements.
Thank you. And I just have probably 3 questions, and one may end up coming to the CAO. How many square feet is the project?
It's 10,000 square feet.
10,000 square feet, thank you. And then the next question is, did I hear correctly that Garland investigated the problem, they reviewed the tenders coming in, and they're also a party to the 287,000?
Yes, so they will, through the Kinetic GPO, they will go out and do kind of all the legwork for the project, and then we don't pay them, but they supply the material, some of the materials for the project, so that's how they get their money. So they will be a project manager as well as they did the tender and everything.
Okay, and I believe we had a number of quotes that were submitted.
Yes, so Garland is who we worked with to do the tender, and then Perth Roofing, along with Fitzgerald and Sons, Simluck, Flynn, Atlas, and Irvcon were all vendors that bid through Garland to the tender.
Okay, thank you. There were a couple of things I had to clear in my head. So, CAO, do you have anything to comment on that, or?
Nothing to specifically comment on other than through the group purchasing, it basically opened up this project manager, which basically would be no additional cost to the town. So we're able to kind of save on some of those costs in the project. We're able to do it under budget. And it will allow us to then maintain the areas that have been causing some leaking issues and being able to then stay in compliance with any lease agreements we may have in that facility.
Okay, thank you. And Councillor Legree, please.
Through your chair to Coordinator Collins, just want to make sure I understand this. So worst case scenario, if they have to do the extra work, we're looking at just over 363,000. I think we budgeted 400,000, so we're still, worst case scenario, we're still under the budgeted amount, correct?
Through your chair, yes, that's correct. We would still be under budget, worst case scenario.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions? Seeing none, I'm going to call the vote. All in favor? Opposed? None. It's carried. Thank you, Council. Thank you, Coordinator Collins. And we'll move to Director Withers, and that Committee of the Whole recommends that Renfrew Town Council adopt a parkland dedication bylaw to implement the parkland dedication policies of the official plan. Could I have a mover, please? Councillor Legree, second. Councillor McWhirter. And Director Withers.
Thank you, Reeve Moan, through you. This is just very quickly a bylaw that is enabled by the Planning Act in order to allow us to collect parkland dedication payments, which we have been doing. We have just received some recent suggestions from our legal counsel that we should put a separate bylaw in place. We have relied on our official plan policies traditionally, which is the practice of many municipalities in Renfrew County. The benefit of having a bylaw is that it kind of lays out the process for collection of it, establishes a couple other things like a flat rate process for severances, whereas right now they would have to get an appraisal. So this is a fairly simple bylaw, and if there are any questions, happy to answer them. Thank you.
Councillor Andrew Dick, please.
Thank you, Reeve, and through you. I'm just curious, Director Withers stated that we got legal advice. Do we have confirmation of that legal advice? Like, we haven't saw it. Was it just a phone call? Was it an email?
Yeah, through you, Reeve. So there was just an email at the staff level. We had consulted with them. We had a question that was received on a site plan approval project, and we just consulted with them. They just suggested that we put a bylaw forward at some point.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Just on the bylaw itself, commercial 1.4, where it talks about, and the last point, point 4 in Roman numerals, such similar uses as determined by the town. So we can add to that class without opening the bylaw. Is that how I understand this?
That would be my interpretation. This was substantially drafted by the solicitors, but yeah, the idea is it's 5% for residential, 2% for non-residential. Non-residential generally includes commercial, industrial, and institutional. Commercial being anything involves the buying and selling of goods or services to members of the public. So as long as it's something similar to that, we can fit it within that definition.
Okay, thank you. And my last question, I hope, is that when I was researching similar bylaws, 1.8 and Roman numeral 4 again, it calls for a truck terminal. And in some urban communities, there is a bit of a struggle now because there might be 2 or 3 trucks in a yard, and people start them up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and especially in the winter months. Would that constitute a truck terminal, or is there something else? Are we protected in our zoning bylaw? So those are the kinds of questions I think might arise down the road.
So I'm just for clarification, so this is just really a question of what we consider to be a truck terminal and where it's permitted. Yeah, so you're going to see trucking and delivery with many different types of commercial uses. This is not a land use bylaw, so this doesn't prescribe where a truck terminal or trucking would be permitted. This just incorporates trucking and a truck terminal within the definition of industrial for the purposes of parkland dedication. That said, it's typically considered to be an industrial use.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate your patience as I seek clarity every so often. And my final last question, I promise. Does this need a public hearing?
No, it does not.
Okay, thank you. Are there any further questions from council? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? None is carried. Thank you, council, and thank you, Mr. Withers. And we'll move to landfill packer repairs. That Committee of the Whole received the landfill packer repairs report as information. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor McWhirter, second by Councillor Legree. Discussion, and Manager Springer.
Thank you, through you, Reeve. So for council's information, in June of this year, we started to notice some issues with our waste packer that we purchased in 2019 from Tormont Cat. There's excessive oil burn and additionally some problematic vapors and smells that were coming. We consulted with the town's mechanic, but of course he is limited in his ability to diagnose and repair issues on the packer because the town is not set up for field service. And then we had CAT technicians in, and they performed some maintenance, but ultimately CAT recommended that the unit not be operated and be brought to their shop in Canada for further investigation, which has been done. So basically, CAT has recommended a turbo and engine rebuild and replacement, but however, due to higher than expected concentrations of metals in past oil samples, it was suggested that there may have been a buildup to the significant failure. These engines typically have a lifespan of about 12,000 hours, and the town's packer only has about 3,000 hours on it. For these reasons, and given our positive relationship with Tormont Cat, a 75% goodwill warranty has been extended to the town to cover the labor and parts associated with the engine and turbo rebuild and replacement, which includes a 1-year warranty. This is the best that Cat can offer while still offering a 1-year warranty. However, the remaining cost of an estimated $23,500, including non-refundable HST, is required to be covered by the town, which was not accounted for in the current year's budget. Additionally, while the packer was being repaired, a bulldozer was rented. It is actually going to be about 4 weeks that we'll have that, and that was needed in order to maintain the landfill in a functioning and compliant state. The rental at the time of writing this was estimated at about $12,000. It might be a little bit more than that, maybe about 14. We did have rental of heavy equipment included in the operating budget. However, it was at a slightly lower amount, I believe about $10,000. So overall, staff are recommending that these expenses be absorbed by the operating budget. However, at year end, if the expenses exceed the operating budget, staff will return to council for direction on a funding source, including from any operating surplus that may exist. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions, comments, concerns, members of council, and Councillor Legree.
Through you, Chair, to Ms. Springer. Just curious, like, normally it lasts up to 12,000 hours. Like, we only got a quarter of that time. Did they state why? Like, at 3,000 hours, we're putting $100,000 back into this. I know we're not paid. They're covering 75% of that, but my math says there's almost $100,000 in repairs into this piece of equipment. So I'm just wondering, is there other issues with the same type of packer, or is this just a one-off thing? Did they give any insight on that, or?
Through you, Reeve. So the exact cause of the issue could not be diagnosed by CAT. We, in consultation with our mechanic as well as the CAT technicians, the low cylinder compression was identified as possibly the main cause. So yes, the 75% warranty that they are covering kind of covers the 75% of the lifespan that we should have still got out of the Packer. So I think it's very fair.
Okay, thank you.
Just one question. Is it possible to have them analyze the oil on a regular basis from now on when they're going through? Because it looks like they're using the same engine block. It's a new one, but it's the same design and the same size.
To the Reeve. So we do have a preventative maintenance plan in which oil and filter changes are done at a regular schedule, and fluid analysis is done to test the oil for that wear and tear. Because we have been doing that since day one, that is also one of the reasons why we got such a good warranty on that, and those samples did show some high concentrations of metals, which initially were just considered break and wear, but they got worse and to the point where we had this failure.
Thank you very much. Oh, sorry, Councillor McWhirter.
Did they indicate if this is a one-off, or is this a common occurrence for this particular model?
Through you, Reeve, they did not indicate one way or another. It does, in consultation with our mechanic, it does seem like this is just a bit of bad luck.
Okay, thank you. Seeing no further questions or comments, I'll call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? None. It's carried. Thank you. And we'll move to E.2.3. That Committee of the Whole recommends that Renfrew Town Council authorize the mayor and clerk to sign the Municipal and First Nations Automotive Materials Services Amending Agreement. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Legree, second by Councillor McWhirter. And discussion, and we'll go with Manager Springer again, please.
Thank you, through you, Reeve. So this is an agreement to amend an existing agreement that we have with the Automotive Materials Stewardship, which is a pro for the collection of antifreeze, oil filters, and empty automotive fluid containers, all of which we accept at the Hazardous Waste Depot. So they want to increase our compensation by almost 3 times. So previously, our compensation was $517 a year, and they want to increase it to $1,500 a year, which all goes against the operating costs for the Hazardous Waste Depot. So the recommendation is to sign the agreement. If we don't sign the agreement, it would eliminate the offsetting of revenue from the automotive material stewardship, and the disposal of that material would be at our own cost.
Thank you. Any questions, comments from council? Okay, seeing none, I'm going to call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? None. It's carried. Thank you, council. And we'll move to item E 2.4, that Committee of the Whole recommends that Renfrew Town Council not enter into an agreement for recycling calendars with Circular Materials Ontario, CMO. Mover, please. Councillor Legree, second by Councillor McWhirter. And Manager Springer, please.
Thank you, through you, Reeve. So in 2023, the town of Renfrew transitioned to the producer-led Blue Box recycling program managed by Circular Materials Ontario, or CMO. And we entered into an agreement during that time to provide recycling promotion and education to Renfrew residents until the end of this year. And that agreement required the town to design and distribute a hard copy recycling schedule and include digital recycling related information on our website. And we received compensation in the form of 35 cents an eligible stop, or that works out to $1,358.35 a year. So Circular Materials wants to know if we want to renew this agreement at the same price point of 35 cents an eligible stop. We do have more houses, so it's about $1,400 for 2026. The town has historically produced and distributed a waste collection calendar, which primarily provides recycling information, but it does also have some other information related to leaf and yard waste, which happens 6 times a year, garbage collection, household hazardous waste, depot, open and close dates, there's 2 of those days, and holiday pickups, which, are maybe 2 or 5 times a year. Additionally, we have some various town phone numbers for easy reference on that calendar. So CMO would like us to submit our intent to sign by October 1st, and staff are recommending that we do not enter into this agreement. The reasons for that is because CMO will produce and distribute their own recycling-specific calendar to residents in the case that we do not do it for them. Printing costs per unit are about 64 cents for the postcard magnet that we have had in the past. They're about 10 cents for letter paper using our own printers, or 13 cents a unit if we were to get a printing service. The distribution of these has been very difficult in the past. Direct mail is just way too expensive, and co-distribution with the water and tax bills misses those that receive the bills online or if they're tenants. Canada Post, their ordering system for flyers, it does not permit distribution by municipal boundaries, resulting in a broader distribution area than is intended. There is possibly a way around that, but even if we did find that, we're still looking at about 18 cents a unit for Canada Post to deliver them. Additionally, we would remain responsible for providing basic information on recycling services such as pickup dates and acceptable set-out containers, information that if somebody called that we would be required to provide. Not providing the calendar will lessen the connection between the town and the recycling service, which over time will reduce the confusion that the town is no longer responsible for the residential portion of recycling. Factoring in the cheapest printing option, which is in-house at 10 cents a unit, and the Canada Post flyer distribution at 18 cents a unit, we are looking at 28 cents a unit, and CMO is offering us 35 cents a unit. If you factor in the staff time to develop the calendars, arrange for distribution, update the recycling information on our website, and respond to the recycling-related inquiries, the compensation just isn't enough. By entering into the agreement, if we do decide to do that, the benefits are that we are able to put all of our waste information into one location. However, in consultation with the communications coordinator, we do have other options to get that information out there. Like I said, it's only a couple days a year. Hazardous waste, leaf and yard waste, and holiday schedules. We have our website, we have social media, we have the Be City app, we have also non-digital options such as newspaper advertising, radio ads, and we still can do inserts in water and tax bills, which do get most people that are offline, and then use our digital sources to get those online people who have online tax and water bills. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions, comments, concerns from members of council? Councillor Andrew Dick, please.
Thank you, Reeve, through you. So staff is recommending, so just let me be clear, we're getting rid of the magnets. That's what we're talking about here, right? Okay. So the cost this year is an estimated $1,401. And how many homes does that reach, Reeve?
From my recollection, but I'll let Ms. Springer answer.
Yes, through you, Reeve. So $1,400, it would be the compensation that we would get from CMO for doing it for 2026. The cost, that's 35 cents, and we have per household, and we have 4,000 households.
So 4,000 times 35 cents is what you're saying?
$1,400 is what Circular Materials would give us. And for us to do it, it'd be about 28 cents just for distribution and printing. That doesn't include any staff time.
Okay. And sorry, I'm just going to, is it okay if I just keep going?
Please,
Okay.
just one at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks.
So just to be clear, it's $1,400, it's going to cost the town $1,400 to get the magnets to 4,000 homes.
I don't believe we're talking about magnets. I missed that off the front end. I think we're talking about a piece of paper, but again, Ms. Springer?
Yes, through you, Reeve. So $1,400, okay, so let's just do not the total, but just do it per unit. I think it'll be a little bit easier. So if we want to send out a magnet with Canada Post, the magnet is going to be 64 cents, and Canada Post is going to cost 18 cents. So 64 plus 18, 20, no, that's not right. 82 cents a unit for the magnet. If you want us to print it on a piece of paper in-house, it's going to cost you 10 cents plus 18 cents to send it through Canada Post, so 28 cents. And Circular Materials is offering us 35 cents a unit. So it's going to cost us a bunch of money if we do magnets. That's not our responsibility. And we would make a teeny tiny little wee bit of money if we did it on paper. But that doesn't count staff time.
Okay. Thank you for that explanation. So from everything I just heard, we're looking at $3,280 to get 4,000 magnets out to the people that have had these magnets for forever. Minus 1,400. Okay.
Through you, Reeve, if I may add,
yes.
Due to delays in getting the calendar approved and the Canada Post strike for 2025, we actually did not do magnets. We did paper, and there wasn't too many people that were too upset with that. Actually, a lot of people liked it better because it's bigger and they could actually read it.
Okay, so it's going to cost us $1,880 to get 4,000 magnets out to the people. So has staff looked at the possibility, so we can design the magnets because there are magnets. So we thought about possibly getting a sponsor, a business to put their logo and information website on these magnets at the bottom, cut 4,000 people. That's worth at least $800. So you could take $800 now, we're looking at $1,000. It's just an idea. You could even put two businesses on there and cut it in half. And then it doesn't cost the taxpayers anything and the 4,000 people get their magnets. It's just a thought. I don't want to see the magnets go away. I know I missed it last year and I know a lot of my neighbors missed it. But that's just my thoughts. I'm just one vote. Just an idea.
Okay, thank you. I saw the CAO and then Councillor Legree.
So through you, Reeve, just a quick question that I believe council might want to hear the answer to. If the town does not partner with to do these magnets, CMO is still responsible to send stuff to the homes. It's just they're not doing it at our cost. Is that correct, manager? That they still have to do it, it's just they have to do it on their own dime entirely as opposed to us doing it and they only have to pay a small portion?
Through you, Reeve. Yes, so CMO will still send a recycling calendar to every home in Renfrew, but it will just contain recycling information. It will not contain the household hazardous waste depot dates or the leaf and yard waste dates. Yeah.
Thank you. Councillor Legree.
Through you, Chair Emo, just a comment, I guess the way I'm looking at it is it's very confusing, I think, when we send these out, especially if we do it by mail, because as Ms. Springer said, it goes, our information, part of it will go to like Horton and Admaston, because if it goes out by mail, they can't just, like she said, they can't just narrow it to the town of Renfrew, so it gets spread out, which causes confusion. I think for the few things that we put on there, leaf and yard waste and stuff, like our new B-City app, the advertising the radio and our water and tax bills and all that. I think that gets out to enough places, and our website and social media and all that, and if CMO is still sending it out, it'll be a generic thing going to all the whichever municipalities opt out of doing it on their own. It'll be the thing that kind of separates us from the recycling. So I agree with letting them take it over. Thanks.
Thank you. Any further questions, comments? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Revimo. So I heard newspaper, I heard radio, I heard social media. It seems social media is the scapegoat for all our advertising. And let's be honest, it's not the end all. I don't think I've heard anything on the radio on 96.1 or Heritage all year. I don't even know if we have a campaign with them. So I'm not sure. I haven't heard anything. I don't see anything on renfrewtoday.ca from the town of Renfrew ever. I don't hear any interviews on the radio station ever from the town of Renfrew. So I don't know. I don't think the word's getting out there. So it just seems we take away from the town of Renfrew all the time, from the taxpayers. And, you know, for $1,800, and I think we could get some sponsorship to cover the cost of that. I don't think we should get rid of it. However, I'm just one voice, and those are just my thoughts, and we don't need to debate it. I'm just making some comments on my own personal.
Okay, for my information, would you be able to, clerk, answer the question about if we advertise on MyFM and Heritage?
Through you, Revimo. So we do have a communication plan with both MyFM as well as Heritage Radio. I do know that ads are placed kind of on a weekly basis. If you look at our quarterly reports, it does usually give a breakdown of how many ads are placed, where they're run, kind of the details of what they're hitting. We try to focus advertisements what's happening that month, whether it's an event, whether it's like the household hazardous waste opening or closing, whether there's changes to specific bylaws, upcoming special meetings, those type of things. That's often why we use them. So again, I don't have the exact breakdown in front of me right now as to what that is. I do know we just reported on at the last council meeting in our Q2 kind of quarterly report, and certainly I can provide more information if council's looking for it.
Thank you. So, seeing no further questions or comments, I'm sorry, Councillor McWhirter.
I'm just reading the report again, and something I noticed was by entering the agreement, we will be dictated to by CMO on how to provide the information. So in essence, they actually could decide not to use the magnets at all. They could just send out a piece of paper like town staff were describing. I agree with Councillor Dick. I use the magnet myself. It's pretty handy to have it on the fridge. But if I'm not a big fan of a company dictating to us our policies and how we go about things either, so I'm not sure on this one.
Okay, and Councillor Andrew Dick, please.
Thank you, Revimo, through your. So just he brought Councillor McWhirter brought up a good point. He's stating that we're going to be dictated to, but the staff didn't report that we were going to be dictated to. So I'm just curious, was he misreading, or were we misinformed?
Yeah, yes, under the CAO's comments, it's written in the document.
Okay. I know it's only for $1,800, but we might as well have a recorded vote on this one.
Okay,
Thanks.
you. So with that, I'll turn it over to the clerk, please. Are we done with discussion? Yeah, okay. All right, thank you. We'll move on to the clerk taking the recorded vote.
Okay, through you, Revimo. I will start with Councillor Andrew Dick, as he was the one who requested it.
Thank you. Opposed?
Councillor Legree.
In favor.
Councillor McWhirter. Revimo.
I'm in favor.
So it is carried on a 3-1.
Thank you. Thank you, Manager Springer and Council. And we'll move to E2.5. That Committee of the Whole recommends that Renfrew Town Council approve $40,000 for engineering services related to environmental and hazardous materials updates, design updates, and tendering for the demolition of the old wastewater treatment plant, and fund the increase from sewer reserves. So, yes, thank you. Fund the increase. Discussion? Or sorry, mover, please. Councillor Lecree, second. Councillor McWhirter. And Manager Springer, please.
Thank you through you, Reeve. So this is an item that has been returned to the agenda with some additional appendices attached. So we did go out and get the required additional information, which included a legal response that was presented this morning and closed, as well as the attached insurance response and bylaw response. So basically, there is some work that needs to be done in order to mitigate the liability that is potential here, and there is other options other than demolishing it, but eventually the building will need to be demolished. So originally, this report had come to council in the spring in order to proceed to get pricing for the 2026 budget. However, we are in the midst of working on our 2026 budget, so the numbers that we had from last year will roll over if council so just chooses to proceed.
Thank you. Questions, comments from members of council? Okay, well, people organize their thoughts. Okay, we'll go ahead, Council. Okay, so I'll offer a few comments. So when I took all the information together, and it looks like, we need to, first of all, secure the building and ensure it's secured, whether that's better HASP blocks on the doors, because then that would also allow, should there be some kind of a fire, that would allow the fire department in. I would also suggest that there was some discussion here about the pits, and I think, staff already have an idea of how they might deal with those, which would result in them being pumped out, I'm assuming, and then filled with a gravel-like material. When I look at the insurance checklist, it mentioned regular inspections, and I, first, two things. I don't want to see Manager Springer adding that to her duties. And I'm not sure that our public works slash recreation forces would have the time, especially in the winter. So I'm wondering if there's a means, and I'm turning to Chief Guest, if there's a means of having maybe our crossing guards, if a couple of them are interested in earning a little extra money, have them go down with a checklist that we develop so that they walk the perimeter, make sure there's nothing broken open, make sure that it doesn't look like anybody's gotten inside, so that if somebody does break a lock, then we repair it right away, because I think we may have slipped a little bit by not repairing some of these openings right away. So, that's what I would suggest to council is I think we have a good plan forward, which I think could secure the site at this point and mitigate some of our risk. And we're always in the business of mitigating our risk. And and it's a good thing that we took a look at this one, because there is some things we need to do. So now that everybody's had a chance to organize their thoughts, Councillor Andrew Dick.
Thank you, Reeve Email, and thank you for the moment for us to gather our thoughts. It is a big, so from what I've read and understand, and I can be corrected if I'm wrong, and Clerk Eric probably can help me out on this. So it looks like we're moving in a different direction, or I'm gathering we want to move in a different direction, and we don't want to approve the 40,000. We want to move forward with a different tactic of securing this. So from what I understood, we just need to put up some signage, do a little bit of work, and we'll be fine. Like, liability will be fine. I think that's the direction council is going?
No.
Okay, I apologize.
No, and I should have been clear. So I think what we have to do is two things at the same time. One is move forward with the 40,000, which then gives us an outline of the parameters of the job to demolish it. And then secondly, given the information we have in the package from the insurance company and some of the comments, we've been privy to in the past about our liability, then some of these other measures look like we're mitigating our liability, and we might be at the same time. So this is not saying, no, we're just going to secure it and walk away from it. This $40,000 allows us to plan for the way forward. And Manager Springer, if I've missed anything or been inaccurate, please jump in.
Through you, Reeve, I think you got the gist of it. So the $40,000 would be to go to tender for demolition in 2026, which we would get pricing on. Eventually, this building will have to be demolished, but there are other things that we can do if we want to postpone that demolition. They will still cost money, but we don't know exactly at this time what that would look like.
Thank you, Councillor McWhorter, and then Councillor Legree.
Through you, Reeve. So the way I read this, it's about approving $40,000 for engineering services related to the demolition. I'm wondering if we can't make either close out this and then make another motion, or make an amendment to this motion saying we'd like staff to bring back costing to secure the building as discussed with either better fencing or signage or whatever the case may be. I'd sooner do that than just $40,000. I think they could probably put together a price and have it fixed, and then see if we can add it to our budget for this year. And on the point of inspection, I think I'd prefer to see if it's possible to add some time to the bylaw officer who would be involved with this on a regular basis to make sure we are compliant with the property. And I can't think of anybody better to make that note, since he's already doing it in town, other properties. So it's just that would be my suggestion. Thank you.
Thank you. So very quickly, I think it's a good idea to look at this piece and then bring another motion up either tonight or in the future about the second half of what we talked about, probably tonight, about securing the property. I don't think we have to be too specific, and I think staff have heard what we've had to say. The second motion may end up talking just simply for them to get us some recommendations. Does that make sense to council if I see a nodding of heads? Okay, so Director Withers high-signed to me, and then I'll go to Councillor Legree. Director Withers, please.
Thank you, through you, Reeve. And just bear in mind that moving forward with a redesign to undertake the demolition, it'll also have a shelf life, right? So if it takes 6 months to do that redesign, and then in 2026 council determines that it doesn't want to proceed with the demolition, it just wants to proceed with interim measures to secure the secure the property, and we wait another 2-3 years, that design might have to be updated again. So just being mindful of that. We might want to firm up exactly where council wants to go with this before we go too far down the redesign path.
We'll do a follow-up, and then, I'm sorry, Councillor Legree.
Through you, Reeve. So to that answer, my suggestion was not doing the 40,000 engineering at all. Either turn down this motion and make another motion to secure the property with staff coming back with an actual figure that we could include in the budget to do so, or to amend this to that means. So yeah, because I understand that down the road, like if we're not doing this next year, we're not doing this probably for a couple of years, and obviously things would change. So then I think we've just thrown $40,000 away and then have to redo it anyway. So I'm not in favor of that at all.
So I'll go to Councillor Legree, and then I see Chief Guest.
Through you, Chair Emo. So that's kind of where I'm thinking this is. In my mind, this is like a 2 or 3 year project, putting some money each year away in reserves till we get it. So I'm not really in favor of spending the 40. I know it's coming out of water reserves or whatever, but I'm not really in favor of spending the 40 right now, because if we don't do it for 2 or 3 years, that price is going to change and we might have to update that. So, yeah, I would decline on spending that. So I think a new motion type of thing that words that would be what I'm looking for. Thanks.
Thank you. And now, Chief Guest, thank you for your patience.
Thank you, through the Reeve. We did do a site visit last week, and just want to make council aware that this isn't securing 1 or 2 or even 3 openings. It's basically every opening to the building, over 20 separate openings, including the bay door. So there will be substantial cost to secure the building. I just want to make council aware of that.
Thank you, Chief. And Councillor Andrew Dick.
Thank you, Reeve Emo, and thank you for all the comments. So I like where this is going, because in everything I've read, no one has said we need to tear it down. No one. Like, no insurance company, nobody has. We need to secure it to make sure that our liability is intact. So I do agree with Chief Guest, there is going to be a cost to secure it, and you know what? That's our due diligence as a town. We need to secure it. We need to make it safe, like no trespassing signs, put the wood up on the doors and all that. This building is out of the way. It's not in plain sight of any public. I think we need to do our due diligence. I 100% agree. This, in my opinion, this $40,000 is a waste of money. We know what they're going to tell us, and it says right in the motion, they're getting ready to tender it to be demolished. We don't need them to tender it, because I've said this from the onset, I totally disagree that we need to demolish this. Just let's make it safe and let's move on in life. Those are my thoughts.
Okay, so thank you. What I would suggest then is if there are no further comments on this motion, I would call the motion. Whatever the results are, would then be open to a motion from the floor about other topics pertaining to this site, and then we'll see what happens. So if is that a fair means of process? All right. And so very quickly, I'll look around. Is there anybody else wanting to offer comment? Seeing none. All those in favor? Opposed? The motion is defeated. Thank you, Council. Having said that, while we pause to look for the next topic, okay, no further motions on that? Okay, thank you. And we'll move to that Committee of the Whole accepts the Notice of Motion Response Report, Water Bill Refund Options Report as information. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Legree, seconded by Councillor Andrew Dick. And Deputy Treasurer Ferguson, please.
Thank you, Reeve. So just, we'll give a little bit of a summary, and then if there's any questions, we'll be happy to field those. So on June 3rd, Mr. Grunwood appeared before Council to express his concerns about a water sewer bill. He was inquiring about the possibility of a billing adjustment. At the June 24th meeting, a notice of motion was brought forward to review the request and to bring a report back to Council. Staff have prepared some documentation for Council to review. Appended to the report are data logs that were obtained from the physical water meter. They show consumption levels during the period between July 11th to 16th. Council can review those. The data indicates that there was continuous consumption at 0.7 cubic meters every hour on the hour for the duration noted above. Staff have calculated out an estimated adjustment based on an average set of prior bills. This equates to approximately $680.32. Currently, our leak adjustment policy requires the following when considering an adjustment. It requires a leak to be confirmed and repaired, some physical proof, so documentation, i.e. a plumber's report, receipts, photos, those be provided, as well as the understanding that this is a one-time adjustment over a 10-year period and that one has not already been used. It is currently staff's recommendation that adjustments continued to be handled in line and keeping it with the leak adjustment policy. With that, Council has the report, so that was just a brief summary, and happy to review any questions.
Questions, members of Council? And I'll go with Councillor Legree.
Through you, Reeve Emo, to Deputy Treasurer Ferguson. Can you just remind me, was the meter operating normally before and after this spike, and was there any replacement No replacement, okay.
Through you,
Yes, sir.
Reeve. The meter was operating based off of the data logs accurately before and after, and we did not, to my knowledge, do a meter replacement at this location specifically.
Just a comment?
Supplementary?
Yeah. So just a comment that then we do have a policy in place for this, and I agree we need to follow it. We could be opening ourselves up if we start just picking and choosing who we're adjusting and who we're not. So my thought on this is that we just receive this as information, and that's it. Thanks.
Thank you. Any further questions, comments? Yeah, and Councillor Andrew Dick.
Thank you, Reeve Emo, and through you. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm positive I heard a comment off camera once that there was other water meters in the area that we had issues with. Am I wrong on that? I could be wrong on that. I could have dreamt it up, but I'm just asking the question.
And Deputy Treasurer Ferguson, please.
Thank you. Yeah, through you. There have been instances within the town for sure where the similar things have happened. As far as people's specific addresses, I don't recall, but there have been instances in similar manner. We've also sent meters away to get tested before without the ability to reproduce anything of the same manner. So we've been unable to reproduce instances like this, even though we have noted it before.
Okay, so moving forward. So for 6 days straight, 6 days, this gentleman's water meter ran. And every hour on the hour for 6 days straight, 0.7 cubic meters of water came out. That's correct, right? Where did the water go?
If you could address me, if you don't mind, please.
I apologize.
No problem,
You're
thanks.
100% right. I do apologize about
Thank
that,
you.
Reeve Emo. So my question is where did the water go?
Deputy Treasurer Ferguson?
Sure. Thank you. There are a few, I'm not saying that in this instance it could be the case, but you'd be surprised how much water a toilet uses when it's running nonstop. You might not even hear it. That's why we recommend people doing dye tests. You put food coloring in your toilet bowl and you wait and see if it comes down to the toilet, and it runs right down the drain without you being aware of it. There are also instances where people might have irrigation systems that aren't acting properly, and there might be sprinkler heads that they're not aware of that are leaking. You could have someone with a hose left on in the backyard, and they kind of just don't use their hose often. There are a few options to say what one occurred in this specific instance. I have no idea. I'm not over there, right? But yeah, there are several ways that this could occur.
Thank you. Follow-up?
So I just know in my home, I fill up my pool quite a bit throughout the summer, and when the water is even running a little bit, I can hear that water meter running in my house. And like you hear it. And this gentleman, when he came, the staff was very helpful with him, and they did the leak test, they did everything, and everything was fine. So I'm just trying to I honestly believe that there was something faulty with the water meter for these 6 days. It takes me approximately 12 hours to fill up my pool, not 6 days. So I honestly believe something's really wrong here, and something happened in these 6 days. The gentleman was very polite. He worked hard with the town staff. The town staff did their job, and they got to a point where they're like, sir, like, we're handcuffed now. So then he came to council and he pleaded with us and he explained his situation. I don't think a man who was using water went through all this work to get a $500 refund. So here's the thing, let's just do the right thing and give the man a $500 refund. And you know what, if somebody, like Councillor Gree said, we're opening the door. Well, if somebody wants to take the time and the energy to do what this gentleman did and come to town hall, have town staff come to his house, work diligently with the town staff work with him, and then he comes here, something happened here. So those are my thoughts. I just would like to give the man his money back. Again, that's just my thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions or comments? I have a councillor agree.
Through you, Chair Emo. Just to be clear, I'm not saying he's coming here trying to get extra money or anything like that. Like, I know it's happened to me a few times where my kids have left the hose on. We're gone away for a few days. We come back. Like, it happened in my apartment building in town where we had a small water leak, and my water bill, it took us like 4 or 5 weeks to figure it out, and my water bill like skyrocketed, right? I think, like, we have a policy in place. We really need to be careful if we're guiding off that. But this is not about the resident. I think it's just about following our policy and keeping with what's right. So anyway, thanks.
Thank you. And just a couple of quick questions, which I don't expect an answer to, but long term. My meter is about 26 years old, I'm assuming, or thereabouts, 2008, so it's nearly 20 years old. And I'm just wondering if there's separate generations of meters, and whether his is from a different time period. You know, as houses are being built, mine might be model number 101, and his might be 101D, because there's been years past. So I'm just curious if there's a cluster of meters of a certain lot that might be causing problems and had to be replaced in other locations around town. I don't expect that answer this evening, but it's just something to be aware of. And Deputy Treasurer Ferguson.
Just for clarity, this is located in one of the newer subdivisions within the town, so all of those meters are relatively new. If it was a meter that's in your house or my house that are 20, 21, 22, 23 years old, we actually can't do data logs on them. So the newer meters are the ones where we can do data logs and go back and find this information. So just some more info on that. So, yeah.
Good to know. Thank you very much. And Councillor McWhirter, please.
You, Reeve. Just a question. You use Bluetooth. I assume you don't go in and actually read the meter. It's done through laptop. Is there any possibility that there was a glitch with reading the meter, or is there some way of identifying each residency with a number that shows up on your computer to make sure that it's that house you're reading and not the neighbors? And the reason I say this is when the gentleman came, he gave his deposition about his problem, and he did mention his neighbor 3 doors down was filling a pool, and he didn't think his neighbor actually had an increase in their water bill even though they filled their pool. And I did mention that, and I'm wondering if there was any possible way that the reading could have came from another resident and not directly from his meter.
Deputy Treasurer, please.
Thank you. The transmitters are actually hardwired straight into the water meter, which is where you get your reading from. When town staff went and visited this location, they actually had to wake the meter up. So there's a series of events you have to do to wake the meter up. The person with the transponder then noticed that it was awake. That's when they could start doing the data log and actually pull it. So you actually have to wake the meter up in order to do the data log. That's how they could identify that they were at the right residence and getting the right read.
Okay, thank you. So with that, oh, I'm sorry. Certainly.
Thank you, Revimo. And okay, so a question, I guess it would be to Clerk Aird. I think I already know the answer. How do we vote on giving the guys money back? I think I already know what the vote's going to be, but I want to vote on it. So this report is just a report for information.
Yes, this is a report for information, and I guess what we would suggest to you is that maybe a notice of motion for the next meeting, or we could do it right now after this one.
Through you, Revimo. So there is an option in the report that said basically that if council's to consider refunding the resident directly, that they should be doing contravention of the current policy. So taking a look at the current policy, changing the policy in order to provide this refund. Because to provide one refund, you go against the current town's policy, so you would go against the bylaw that we currently have in place, which means that if you are looking to refund residents moving forward for special circumstances, you will need to review and amend the current policy.
Councillor Andrew Dick.
Thank you, Reeve-Emo, and through you. So I don't want to change the policy, but I think that might be the only way we can do this. Is there another way? Because I don't think the policy's broken. I don't think there's anything wrong with the policy. I just want to vote on giving this gentleman his money back. There's got to be a simpler way.
So again, it probably is a good idea to take it away for 2 weeks, review the policy. There may be some wording in the policy that allows some escape. I don't have it in front of me. Or you may decide to amend the policy by adding a clause which covers this. So I really think it's probably in your best interest and the town's best interest and the gentleman's best interest to take the 2 weeks and then do a notice of motion. That allows, I know it'll take a month in total to get a result, but it'll allow some good solid thinking about it, and maybe there is a way. Okay. So with that, council, I'm prepared to call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? None. It's carried. Thank you. We're moving to E 3.2. That Committee of the Whole recommends that Renfrew Town Council approve option 1, being approval for staff to sign the intention to negotiate with Neptune Technology Group Canada to commence the initial stages of the project for the water meter replacements as approved through the 2025 capital budget. Could I have a mover, please? Councillor Legree, second. Councillor McWhirter. And we'll turn to Deputy Treasurer Ferguson again, please.
Thank you, Reeve-Emo. Through you to all of council. So on July 8th, staff brought forward a report to move forward with the water meter replacement project that was identified as part of the 2025 budget. Council passed a motion to defer the discussion until a cost analysis was conducted and reported back to council, so we brought a report back. Staff reached out to Neptune as well as the water meter provider that we currently purchase the meters from. Per meter quote as of August 19th, I believe the date was $615.09 before tax. We then reviewed, so we being Neptune Canada, ESL, who's the meter company, and town staff, reviewed the budget documents that discuss the project as well as met with them. It was determined that the budgeted figures equates to about $650 per meter installed, meaning the installation cost is $34.91 per meter. This project is to replace 1,429 meters over the next 2 years, so 2025 and 2026, so doing about 715 at a time. Staff then reviewed the projected internal cost to replace meters. There are several key staff identified who'd be responsible for items such as project management, install, booking, coordinating, correspondence, communication, advertising, costs associated with postage, mail-outs, again, advertising. And it was determined that it would be approximately $81.33 per meter of installation costs. So over the course of about 1,429 meters, this variance between the $34.91 equates to about $80,000 in savings with going with the third party. And they are the subject matter expert on it. So just for some more information for council, signing the intention to negotiate does not mean that the project starts tomorrow or anything. This this means that the town and Neptune are going to work together to come up with a contract for scheduling, timelines, how many texts they're going to send out, when they're going to send the texts out, who's going to be in charge of what. So when that actual agreement is created, that'll come back to council, and council will be able to have debate, they'll be able to have discussion, and if there are any requirements for any more funding sources by chance, that can be determined at that time. Lastly, in discussion with Neptune, they did identify that they try to replace as many meters as the budget permits in the first 2 phases, so that you are on par with your budget for the duration of the first 2 phases, and then if there was any market adjustments, say there was a new tariff, say the price of a water meter went up, that would get accounted for within the second phase, so years 3 and 4. And again, funding sources can be determined at that time because we'd include it as part of budget. So all that to say, that is the report back from staff.
Thank you. Questions? Councillor Andrew Dick, please.
Thank you, Reeve, and through you. I know Councillor Sobalski and myself were big on this report, and thank you for putting this report together. It's a great report. And reports like this help us councillors answer the questions that are going to come to us. Why didn't our staff do it? We could have done it cheaper. And now this report gives us all of the information we need to let the public know if the public asks us. So thank you for this.
Thank you. And Deputy Treasurer, could I ask a question for clarification? When you look at the Neptune price, it says cost per meter installed is $650. Does that include the $34.91, or do we add the $34.91 because down at the bottom we have the town cost where the $81.23 is added in to make $696.42?
Thank you. And yeah, the $650 is included. The installation is included in the $650. Yeah, so that's just the variance between the $650 and the $615.09 is the $34.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm a visual learner or unlearner, and so I didn't want to get confused. Thank you. Is there any further comments and questions? Deputy Minister, or Deputy Treasurer, Deputy Minister. I'll do my best for you. Deputy Treasurer?
I did just want to add one thing as well. In the town's instance, if we were to do it internally, we'd be able to maybe mobilize one staff to actually do the installs. Neptune is able to send out 6, 7, 8 installers and do this in a couple weeks, is where town staff would be doing this, only this, for 18 weeks. It just shows the value in having the subject matter expert.
Thank you. Prior to calling the vote, quick question for the clerk. Has the mayor's letter to Minister Flack gone about modernization funding yet?
Through you, Reeve, the letter has been drafted. It is with Mayor Sidney. I do not believe it's been sent out at this time.
Thank you. Could I suggest to council that it would make sense for us to add this, add the meter cost or meters into it, replacing the meters, because we're going to be much more effective and efficient, and it makes sense to ask for modernization money for this as well. Does that make sense to council? There may not be modernization money, but as long as we keep planting the seed, you never know. Okay, so with that, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? None? It's carried. Thank you very much, council. And thank you, Deputy Treasurer Ferguson. And we'll move to fire, E.4.1. That Committee of the Whole recommends that Renfrew Town Council repeal the Town of Renfrew mandatory retirement policy. I need a mover, please. Councillor Legree, seconded by Councillor McWhirter. And we'll move to Director Guest, please.
Thank you, Reeve, and through you to all of council. As council is aware, there is a policy review schedule to ensure all policies are current and appropriate. The mandatory retirement policy is attached as Appendix A. It was passed and established in 2018. However, this policy was replaced with an updated policy called the Retirement Incentive Policy, passed by Bylaw 44-2023. When the new policy was established, the previous policy was not formally repealed. As this policy has been replaced with another active policy, there is no benefit to keep both policies. Formally repealing it will clean up the policy listing to only require the active policies. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions, comments, concerns from members of council? Seeing none, I'll call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? None. It's carried. Thank you very much. And we'll move to item number E.4.2, Property Standards Bylaw Working Group. The Committee of the Whole recommends that Renfrew Town Council approve the establishment of a Property Standards Bylaw Working Group, and further, the staff bring forward draft terms of reference for consideration. A mover, please. Councillor McWhirter, second. Councillor Legree. And discussion, and we'll lead off with Director Guest, please.
Thank you, Reeve, and through you to all of council. Again, periodic reviews of municipal bylaws are an essential part of good governance, ensuring that regulations remain relevant and reflect current technological and social changes. So much like the recent parking bylaw working group, staff are requesting the formation of a property standards working group. So this approach was successful and beneficial. It ensures a broader range of perspectives, and it includes expertise, which result in a more effective bylaw. The proposed working group would be composed of 3 members of council, along with municipal staff as designated by the CAO. The group would also engage with relevant boards, agencies, key partners to obtain additional feedback. Again, the Property Standards Bylaw Working Group would report back to council with a draft property standards bylaw, including any recommendations. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions, comments, concerns for Director Guest from members of council? Seeing none, I'm going to call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? None. It's carried. Thank you, council, and thank you, Director Guest. We'll move to E.5.1. That Committee of the Whole recommends that Renfrew Town Council adopt the ditch filling policy, and further that staff be directed to bring forward the appropriate bylaw. Could I have a mover, please? Mover, Councillor McWhirter, second, Councillor Legree. And we'll have discussion, leading off with Director Bishop and the report, please.
Thank you, and through you, Chair, to Council. So the Town of Renfrew periodically receives requests from property owners in the Town of Renfrew to fill or enclose the existing roadside ditches for reasons related to aesthetics, property access, or drainage improvements. So historically, when these come up, they are reviewed on a case-by-case basis. At this point, staff have prepared a ditch filling policy attached that establishes clear standards, approval procedures, and responsibilities for property owners requesting modifications to these roadside ditches. These are within the right-of-way, so they are on town property. The existing roadside ditches are used for stormwater conveyance, so there are some concerns, and they have been addressed in this policy. So the options for council are to adopt the policy or not adopt the policy, and I'll note that adopting the policy will formalize the town's guidelines for these alterations. This will provide consistency and ensure that the storm infrastructure is installed and maintained correctly. Now, not adopting the policy will not affect any town operations, but we will have requests considered with no set guidance for approvals. Thank you.
Questions, comments, concerns from members of council? Councillor Andrew Dick, please.
Thank you, Reeve. I don't know. I kind of like how it is now. I like the fact that when somebody wants to fill a ditch, it's on a case-by-case. I think every request is going to be different. Different yard, different area of town. We have a lot of places in town, well, not a lot of places, but we have some places in town that are in a sense in the country. I don't know. I think I like it the way it is. So yeah.
Okay, thank you. Just a really quick question. I'm sorry, Councillor McWhirter, you can go first.
Through you, Reeve. So this policy is just setting a guideline for what the homeowner says, what he's expected. But he still has to go through the town to get authorization, and somebody from the town will still be checking to make sure it's done properly. Now, anything that's already been done in the past is grandfathered, right? This is moving forward. Like, you're not going to go somebody who did it 50 years ago because he thought it looked better on his lawn. You're not going to make him tear it up. You're going to follow with the policies that you have, right? Okay.
Director?
Through you, Chair. So this isn't to go back and have to dig up any modifications. There were certain properties that had approval in the past. There just wasn't a policy in the past. So it's for any moving forward, and it's just so that there is kind of a guideline and we can communicate with the homeowner and make sure that they are installing it correctly. As it is in the town right away, we don't want it to impede any drainage, and just to make sure it's installed correctly and the grade of the road is reestablished, and it's kind of laid out in the policy, but we just want to make sure that we have that communication with the homeowner.
Thank you. And just a quick question. Can you tell us and the public, what HDPE means in item number 1?
Yes, through you, Chair. It is a type of plastic culvert. It's in the policy there. It's meant to last longer.
Yes. Thank you. I didn't see I saw I didn't see the definition, so my apologies. Councillor Legree?
Through you, Chair Emo. I think the policy is well done. I will be supporting it. I think it gives anybody that wants to fill their ditch, it doesn't matter where you live, a ditch is a ditch. It gives them the guidelines of what the town is going to be looking for and what they need to do. So it's pretty clear cut here. Yeah, I like it. Thanks.
Thank you. Seeing no further questions or comments from council, I'm going to call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? 1. It's carried. Thank you, council. So now we'll move to the opportunity for the CAO to bash me. So we'll move on to that. Committee of the Whole recommends that Renfrew Town Council authorize execution of the joint agreement with ESRI Enterprise and the County of Renfrew as an authorized entity. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Legree, second by Councillor McWhirter, and the CAO, please.
Thank you, Reeve. So we did receive from the county the request for the renewal of our ESRI Enterprise Software Agreement. So this is a multi-jurisdictional, multi-year contract that allows us to use our GIS mapping software. Right now, our current contract is set to expire on September 18th. I do have a typo in the report. I apologize on that. Not 2022-05, it's 2025. We received the request from the county last week, and they are asking for it to be signed back by September 4th in order to get their deadlines through their council processes as well, in order to enter into the new agreement on September 19th. We obviously could choose to find our own source of this. However, it would then cost us money in order to do that. Right now, because we're in the multi-jurisdictional one, it's the county who actually covers the cost of it, and thus we would, the town doesn't have to do additional tax funding for these services. The GIS mapping is very important for several departments in our town, everything from planning, to environment, infrastructure, fire. There a lot use that mapping software, and so we do need to have something, and this is a way of us being able to do it at low cost to the taxpayers. And so I do recommend that we do agree to sign in as an authorized user of the next year's contract.
Thank you. Comments, questions, members of council? Seeing none, it's a good example of shared services. Whenever you're questioned about it, write this down. It's one that we can add that is relatively cheap. All those in favor? Opposed? None. It's carried. Thank you, council. I would ask for a mover now that Renfrew Town Council rise from the Committee of the Whole. Councillor Legree, second by Councillor McWhirter. Discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? None. It's carried. Thank you. And we'll move to F, which is external boards, committees, and county reports. We have none at this time. And we'll move to item G, G.1. Whereas the town of Renfrew has the following interest in improving our schoolyards by creating outdoor learning spaces and tree canopy environments, and whereas the Renature Foundation is undertaking the Canadian Renature School Program, which will be building outdoor learning spaces and planting trees at the elementary schools and Renfrew County District School Board. Therefore, be it resolved that the Council of the Corporation of Town of Renfrew acknowledges that the Renature Foundation is applying for a funding opportunity with the Federation of Canadian Municipalities, Growing Canada's Community Canopies Initiative for the Canadian Renature School Program, which will be building learning spaces and planting trees at the elementary schools in Renfrew County District School Board. And further, the Corporation of the Town of Renfrew also recognizes that the lifetime contribution from the Growing Canada Community Canopies Initiative will not exceed $10 million for tree planting within our municipality, inclusive of a maximum contribution of $1 million for infrastructure activity costs, and that, if approved, this project will be counted towards that limit. Could I have a mover, please? Councillor Legree, second. Councillor McWhirter, and discussion. So I can offer a little bit of information. We had a presentation from Renfrew County District School Board, and you see the presentation in your package. So they've been working on this, and they made an application to FCM, the Federation of Canadian Municipalities, which has a partnership with the federal government, and part of it is to ensure that we have more trees and that we also ensure that our children have an understanding of nature. Two schools presently do something in Renfrew County. One is the Opeongo High School, which has a lot of acreage out back, and so people are able to go out and enjoy the green space. And then also Killaloe Public School, a K-8 with approximately 280 students, I believe, in Killaloe. They have what they've called an outdoor learning classroom where they take kids out periodically and conduct classes. In this instance, what the school board is talking about is making a classroom space with a series of stump seats with trees growing up around those and bushes internal to it. They've said that they'll do it in a manner that's safe so that no child will be without being within their eyesight. So they'll have good sight lines. So again, the classes will talk about nature and ecology and recycling and the importance of trees to take pollutants out of the air. My apologies. And so it makes a lot of sense, and I think it makes sense for us too, because in our community we're extremely tied to the forestry industry, and as you know, the forestry industry for years has planted at least 1 or 2 trees for every tree they've taken, and so again, this meets what our community does. So that's what I can offer you, and I believe each school in the community each will receive $25,000 towards their project. So the school board will use only the funds obtained from this fund. They will not be using funds that they receive from the province. That's all I can remember. Any further questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? None is carried. Thank you very much, Council. And there was a bit of a time crunch that had to be done, I think, today in order to get to them by the early part of September. And so we'll move to correspondence, and we'll receive it as information unless otherwise asked. So you have H.1, which is the letter from Resource Development, and H2, which is the proclamation, a 25th Annual Child Care Worker and Early Childhood Education Appreciation Day, October 21. Could I ask that Council consider that? I think that's a very valuable endorsement or activity to be involved in. As you know, child care workers perform an extremely important function. For the most part, they're charged with teaching our children how to adapt and thrive and survive in the world 0 to 6 before they go to school, and that's the most important time for children to learn and form memories. I can say to you that in Renfrew County we're extremely lucky. The child care workers get together every May. It's called May Day. Last year they were in Petawawa, and there were tables set up all over the ice. The ice pad was gone, but all over the ice surface, arena surface. and it was full. So most of the daycare shut down for the day, so their staff can get professional development, and there's psychologists brought in. There's a few doctors have been brought in who do research papers, and the workers take great pride in learning and moving forward. So I would hope council would see their way to endorsing the proclamation. To the clerk, would that be today, or would we move it to another day? Okay. So okay. Let me see. Down, way down, 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 down. Okay. So with your indulgence, council, whereas years of research confirms the benefits of high-quality early learning and childcare for young children's intellectual, emotional, social, and physical development and later life outcomes, and whereas childcare promotes the well-being of children and responds to the needs of families and the broader community by supporting quality of life so that citizens can fully participate and contribute to the economic and social life of their community, and whereas trained and knowledgeable registered early childhood educators are the key to quality in early years and child care programs in licensed child care, early on programs, child life programs, and full-day kindergarten. Whereas registered early childhood educators and child care workers will be vital to the success of Canada-wide early learning and child care system, otherwise known as CWELC. Therefore, be it resolved that October 21, 2025 be designated the 25th Annual Child Care Worker and Early Childhood Educator Appreciation Day in recognition of the education, dedication, and commitment of child care workers to children, their families, and quality of life of the community. So is there a chance to get a mover on that? Councillor Legris, second by Councillor Dick, and Councillor Andrew Dick. Discussion? All those in favor? It's passed. Thank you very much, Council. I really appreciate your looking beyond our traditional lane and emphasizing the value to the community. H3, Correspondence Town of Grimsby, endorsement of opposition to Bill 5. Correspondence from Grimsby again on the endorsement of the Elect Respect Pledge. And if I may just suggest to you that pledge came about from Marion Mead Ward, who is the mayor of, God, I've lost it. Anyway, I've sat with her on AMO, and she and a few members of her council, especially the female members and their staff, have been hit with a series of threats and pretty disgusting language, and so they got together across Halton and made this pledge. So it's just information, and if you wish to support it, great. If not, I may bring it back as a formal motion once you've had time to think about it down the road. Confirmation of minutes, please. That Renfrew Town Council confirm the minutes of the regular and special meetings of council dated August 12, 2025, and the closed meetings minutes of August 12, 2025, understanding that they remain confidential. That is the closed minutes for the public to understand that we're not hiding anything. Motion, mover, Councillor Legris, second by Councillor McWhirter, and discussion. Any errors or omissions or points you want to bring forward? Seeing none, I'm going to call the vote. All in favor? Opposed? None. It's carried. Thank you. We'll move to resolutions. That Renfrew Town Council adopt the final resolutions considered in Committee of the Whole on August 12, 2025. Number 1, that Renfrew Town Council pass a bylaw to lift a 1-foot reserve in the Hunter Gate subdivision, Phase 3, 49M-78. That Renfrew Town Council rescind the drinking water quality management standard policy. That Renfrew Town Council approve the request of public parking on Veterans Memorial Boulevard from September 4th to September 7th, 2025 during the Renfrew Fair. That Renfrew Town Council establish a Knights of Columbus Park Working Group and approve the proposed terms of reference as presented with direction to staff to bring forward the corresponding bylaws for adoption. Could I have a mover, please? Okay, if we move it, then we can ask. Moved by Councillor Legree, second by Councillor McWhirter, and I believe Councillor Legree, you had a question.
Through you, Evo, I just want to confirm that the Renfrew Fair, the date is right. Yeah, sorry, I'm wrong. It is. I forgot to drop the day off. It's 4. So. 4/7. Yeah, perfect. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Any other comments? And Councillor Andrew Dick, please.
Thank you, Revimo, through you. So I just wanted on record that I'm going to abstain from these votes. I wasn't here last meeting, so I didn't have a chance to debate this, so I don't think it's fair that I vote on it. So I'm only abstaining because I didn't debate it. Oh, I know it will go towards a no vote if I abstain, and I'm okay with that.
Okay, thank you. Any further comments or questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? Thank you, Council. It's carried plus 1 abstain vote, which is a vote in the negative. Yeah, it's just to explain to the public. It's not to drive the knife in. Thank you. Matters arising directly from Committee of the Whole, the Renfrew Town Council adopt the final resolution considered in Committee of the Whole on August 26, 2025. E.1.2, the Renfrew Town Council proceed with the award of the partial roof replacement at 1 Innovation Drive to Garland DBS Canada Inc. and Perth Roofing in the amount of $287,255, excluding HST, and further, that the additional work identified for potential gypsum replacement and wall line restoration be approved in advance and in the event it becomes necessary. Also, E.7.1, the Renfrew Town Council authorizes execution of the joint agreement with the ESRI Enterprise and the County of Renfrew as an authorized entity. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Legree, second by Councillor McWhirter. And discussion, Council, any comments, questions, concerns? Seeing none, I'm going to call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? None. It's carried. Thank you, Council. And we'll move forward. You see the bylaws listed. So the recommended action is that the bylaws listed on the agenda of August 26, 2025 be read a first, second, and third time and passed. 73-2025 Lift Reserve in Hunter Gate Subdivision Phase 3, 74-2025 Rescind the Drinking Water Quality Management DWQMS Policy, 75-2025 Terms of Reference for the Knights of Columbus Park Working Group. Could I have a mover, please? Councillor Legree, second by Councillor McWhirter. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? None. It's carried. Thank you very much. And L, notice of motion, which has previously been given. Seeing none on the agenda. And M, notice of motion. I'm going to do something a little unusual this evening. I'd like to ask for a mover that Renfrew Town Council waive the rules of procedure to permit immediate consideration of a motion with regards to the old wastewater treatment plant. And just as an explanation to the public, we can do this. It's in the procedural bylaw, but it requires a 2/3 vote in favor of it. And so if I could get a mover, Councillor McWhirter, second, Councillor Legree, and I'll give you a bit of an explanation. I'd like to offer up a direction to staff to proceed with some of the remedial work, and so I need a motion to do that. But to get it on the floor, I need to have this this vote. So after this, if it's successful, then I'll have the other motion come forward. Okay? Any further questions? And I realize it's unusual, but it is in this procedural bylaw that we're allowed to do this. All those in favor? Opposed? None? It's carried. Thank you. So what I suggest as a motion is that Council requests staff to prepare a report as soon as possible to ensure the out-of-service sewage treatment facility is secure with a focus on keeping trespassers from the interior of the property and the building. So could I get a mover on that? Councillor Legree, second by Councillor Andrew Dick. So discussion, And so my intent was to not wait a couple more weeks. I think, we had a good, fulsome discussion, so we have a bit of an understanding what we think has to happen to move forward. We heard from Chief Guest that there is going to need to be a substantial investment in sealing up the building. There was, I believe he said something more than 20 points of entry. So that's going to take some time and money to put that together. So I'd rather not wait. I think it's in our best interest not to wait and to be seen to be acting, just because stupid coincidences happen and people might get hurt. And so with that, that's the only premise for bringing this forward. And Councillor Andrew Dick.
Thank you, Reeve Emo. And the only question I have, are we going to have to wait 2 weeks to approve it? Or is 2 weeks sufficient for safety point of view?
What I could suggest to you is that staff have heard our concerns, and maybe they can work on something in a temporary nature. Whether it's drone flights over, or whether it's an occasional informal patrol by designated staff. I'm not. They're pretty bright people. I think we can count on.
I'm okay with that.
CAO, please.
So through you, Reeve, in order to help expedite some of the concerns, anything that doesn't cost money, the staff would be able to proceed with. For the items that would cost money, because obviously it'd be outside of our budget, that would be the stuff that would be specifically noted in the report that we would need approval for, and we could look at having same-day approval of committee to council on the same day, just speed that part up as well. But anything where that staff identify that can be done that doesn't really cost any real money other than maybe the staff time of doing the walking around it, despite inspecting it, maybe just making sure the locks are still locked, that type of stuff, we can proceed with doing right away. And it would then only be the items that are money impacted that would be specifically noted in the report that would need council's approval, and we can look at having that same day meeting approval to be able to speed it up as well.
Okay, thank you. Any further comments, questions? Okay, all those in favor? Opposed? None? It's carried. Thank you. And thank you, Council, for allowing that to come as quickly as it did, and I think relieving some of the concerns that staff might have been expressing, in hopes that they could move forward with this. There are no closed sessions. I don't see any other notice of motions. And so with that, we'll move to the confirmatory bylaw, 76-2025, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the Council of the Corporation of the Town of Renfrew at the special meeting of August 20, at the special meeting? 26? Oh, that's this morning. My apology.
That's correct.
At the special meeting of August 26, 2025. And the regular meeting of August 26, 2025. My apologies, that just seems to have been a long time ago. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor McWhirter, seconded by Councillor Legree. Discussion, all those in favor? Opposed? None, carried, thank you. And that Renfrew Town Council adopt a confirmatory bylaw 76-2025, that it be read a first, second, and third time, and finally passed. Mover, Councillor Andrew Dick. Second, Councillor Legree. Discussion, all those in favor? Opposed? Thank you very much. To the public, we're laughing because I did a little test run. I read the actual report as opposed to the recommendation. Upcoming meetings, Economic Development Advisory Committee, September 9, 2025 at 10 a.m. Regular council meeting, September 9, 2025 at 5:30 p.m. And we will adjourn at approximately 7 p.m. I'd like to thank council for their patience and their really great discussion. I'd like to thank staff for their excellent reports and their ability to field councillors' questions adequately, more than adequately. Thank you.